In 1986, United States bombing of Libya in 1986, in 2002, Iraq war, or in 2014 US intervention in Syria. Whenever the United States wanted, it tried to change the destiny of the Middle East. But there is one country that has not come under their control for the past several decades, and that is Iran. Even today, the US and Israel are trying to find cracks in Iran's fortress, which is not going to be easy. History shows that for the past 600 years, not a single inch of Iran's borders has moved, whether the invaders were Romans, Arabs, Turks, Russians, or even the British Empire. Iran has repeatedly proven that it can withstand even the largest attacks. But what is the real secret of this strength? What makes Iran completely different from other Arab countries and so tough? Let's start with the gift that nature gave Iran. If Iran had to be described in one sentence, it is a massive fortress. A fortress whose walls were not built by humans, but by nature itself. This country is surrounded by mountains on all sides. In the south, the Zagros Mountains stretch in a way that acts like a wall against enemies coming from the south. Toward the southwest, the Zagros Mountains gradually slope towards Iraq. But in the northwest they rise so high and steep that an impossible border is formed with Turkey, where there are no mountains. There are marshlands, especially where the Tigris and Euphrates rivers meet. These marshlands also act as natural barriers, like a deep moat in front of a fortress. This covers the borders with Iraq and Turkey. In the north, near the Caspian Sea or Azerbaijan, the Alborz Mountains provide protection. Towards the east, smaller mountain ranges wrap around Iran, like ribbons, forming borders with Afghanistan and Pakistan. In other words, Iran is protected from all sides by mountains. While in the south, the Persian Gulf forms the final wall of the fortress. If anyone tries to enter from the Persian Gulf, they first face mountains up to 1.5 kilometers high, extending roughly 250 kilometers inland. For any country, this geographical location plays a key role in defense. Similarly, Afghanistan has remained secure thanks to natural mountain ranges, protecting it from Soviet or American invasions. Likewise, these mountains have made Iran safe, ensuring that despite hundreds of attempts over 600 years, no foreign power has succeeded in taking it over. Inside Iran, there are also two large deserts, the Dasht-i-Kavir and Dasht-i-Lut. They are so barren that people are forced to live mostly in mountainous areas. Around 90 million of Iran's population live in these regions, which makes it a nightmare for any foreign army to control the country. Ground invasions face logistical challenges, supply line shortages, narrow paths, and harsh weather conditions, creating continuous obstacles. But there's another side to the story. The same mountains that protect Iran also confine it. History shows that whenever Iran has tried to expand westward, these mountain ranges have become major obstacles. That is why Iran does not engage in direct wars to maintain presence in the south and west. Instead, it has built a network of Shia proxy groups, such as Hezbollah in Lebanon, Houthi in Yemen, the Islamic Resistance in Iraq, Hamas, and Islamic Jihad in Palestine. Now let's look at the Strait of Hormuz. As I mentioned in a previous video, it holds immense strategic value for Iran. The entire northern part of the Persian Gulf is entirely under Iran's control, while the southern part is shared among 7 countries: Iraq, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Qatar, UAE, and Oman. At the northern side, only Iran's coastline is present, forming a V-shape that allows Iran to control the area from 3 sides. The southern tip near Oman is narrow and accessible only for about 50 kilometers through steep mountain paths. For Iran, controlling Hormuz has always been relatively easy, and Iran has already used this option after US and Israeli threats. Iran has made it clear that if any country's ship tries to enter Hormuz, it will be destroyed. This can put not only the Gulf countries but the entire world under pressure, as 20% of the world's oil, 90% of Qatar's LNG, and 5% of the global economy pass through this strait. In 2025, the world economy was $120 trillion, and closing Hormuz could instantly erase $6 trillion. So Iran possesses a valuable asset that can pressure the world in case of an attack. Iran also has a very long coastline, totaling 8,731 kilometers, of which 2,815 kilometers is along the sea. Including the Caspian Sea and the Persian Gulf, 32% of its border is coastline, and this is no ordinary coastline. Instead of sand, there are mountain ranges where Iran has placed missile batteries in secret locations, including garages and blind spots invisible to satellites or drones. Even if an enemy lands from the sea, they immediately face the mountains, where Iran can launch surprise attacks. The third shield protecting Iran from foreign invaders is its diverse population. Iran is multi-ethnic, home to Persians, Azeris, Kurds, Arabs, Balak, Turkmen, and others. When a nation consists of many groups, keeping everyone satisfied is always a challenge. Each group wants its own rights, language, and culture protected. Most of Iran's population lives in mountainous regions, preserving centuries-old disputes. Even though Iran has united them under a Shia Muslim umbrella, protests still occur. Recently, protests that began in December 2025 are still ongoing, with over 7,000 casualties, making them the largest since the 1979 Islamic Revolution. Managing these groups under a single umbrella has always been difficult. Ironically, this multi-ethnic population, while a challenge internally, is a much bigger obstacle for any foreign invader. Anyone attempting to conquer Iran first has to, with fight geography and then unite its people, a near impossible task. That is why, during the British colonial era, while Britain ruled the subcontinent, Iran was never colonized. The US and Israel are fully aware of this, which is why former President Trump repeatedly said that Iranians should overthrow the Islamic regime, because they know that defeating Iran without the support of its people is nearly impossible. In 1941, even the British and Russians occupied Iran, with the Shah's son's help, to prevent Nazi forces from using it as a base during World War II. During that time, internal groups opposed the government, creating a situation similar to a civil war. Despite internal conflicts, all groups were connected religiously under Shia Islam. Iran's 95% Shia population unites whenever the country is attacked. In September 1980, after the Iranian Revolution, Saddam Hussein assumed Iran's army was weak and disorganized. He launched an invasion, expecting a quick victory. But what he underestimated became an 8-year-long war. Initially, the Iraqi army advanced deep, but within 2 years, Iran regained its land. Not only the military but ordinary citizens joined the war, all united under one umbrella. Saddam had expected Arabs inside Iran to join him, but his hopes failed. All groups united under the Shia Muslim banner, strengthening Iranian nationalism. After 8 years and over 1 million casualties, Iraq had to concede without capturing even an inch of Iranian land. Iran's most dangerous weapon is not its army, but its size. Spanning 1.6 million square kilometers, Iran is not a small target that can be captured in a few weeks. Even if an army crosses the border, it must navigate centuries-old mountain paths, desert plateaus, and cities deep inland. This is called the strategic depth concept. The deeper the enemy enters, the longer their supply lines and the harder it becomes to succeed. Cities like Tehran, Isfahan, and Mashhad are protected deep inside, while invaders are exhausted by the time they reach them. In short, Iran's land itself acts as a silent guardian, turning time into its greatest weapon.